right, let us continue along with my bookshelf tour. Let's start off with a big. What was a biggie for me at the time? I already talked about um, The Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Persig. Another book in that class. What wasn't a book? It was one of the stories in this. Was a Little Mouse in Seven Arrows by Aminthimus Storm. There, I managed to mispronounce both names, which is very much kind of a native kind of uh, not a creation myth, more of a hero's journey story, I guess, because we were doing a lot of Joseph Campbell at the same time, and it was looked at it through there of this little mouse going through and giving away its eyes. In the story, giving away one eye and then giving away the other eye, and being blind and transcendent, and it was a beautiful story. What's this? Night Bear hobbled to the tree where Hawk was still tied. Hawk was slumped over, almost on his knees. His tied hands were the only thing that held him from falling completely forward onto his face. Hawk's shield lay a few feet from him, partially in the creek. The blue thunder eagle on its face appeared to have a source of light within it. As it caught the reflection of the night's bright full moon, Night Bear picked up the shield. The shield seemed to pull the grief from deep inside him, released all of his pain. He stood, holding the shield, and wept, which is probably a good representation of what you might find in Seven Arrows. Then we've got my John Sladek, science fiction writer, short stories again, The Steam-Driven Boy and Other Strangers. A new angle on the universe. John Sladek is one of the most intelligent and versatile science fiction authors writing today. With a sharp insight and wicked humor, he opens his readers' minds to new angles on space, time, machines, and men. In this brilliantly entertaining collection, you will encounter galactic spies, nightmarishly benevolent computers, some extremely peculiar aliens, and offbeat time machines, not forgetting, of course, the steam-driven boy itself. So yeah, he is. I've got a couple of his mechanism, the new Apocrypha, Guide to Strange Sciences and Occult Beliefs, which is sort of his kind of stuff of like, what is it? Acupuncture, Atlantis, ESP, Nazi science, UFOs, astronaut deities, Charles Manson, I Ching, poltergeist, Stonehenge, Zen macrobiotics, and many, many more. Sort of a kind of a little guide through all of that bizarre stuff. Keep the Giraffe Burning, which is a classic collection of his short stories. We've got some Peter Straub, who I've read. Actually, I think I just picked it up because I've heard he's a bit more of a literary version of Stephen King, maybe a Stephen King who can write a little bit more of an author, but without maybe Stephen King's whatever that little bit of Stephen King that's made him such a giant thing. I really should get around to it at some point. I will save that until later. We've got some Dan Simmons, who is a kind of science fiction kind of thriller writer. Yeah. I don't have much to say about that because I haven't read it yet. My Isaac Bashevis Singer. I love his short stories. He is sort of one of these kind of guys who's a bit of a chronicler of. Here, I'm just going to zoom in on some of his books that I have. Methuselah Somewhere collection. But he's somebody who seems to have kind of captured a pre-Holocaust Europe, Jewish Europe, especially kind of in the, I think, Polish, Russian area. All these kind of village stories, a lot of them fable-like, but also doing stuff into I think modern New York and stuff like that. Really, really funny, entertaining, great storyteller writer. Yeah. I really enjoy his stuff. There I whacked a book on the floor. This is gonna be. This is why people get their don't do this actually at the bookshelves. I've got a little Theodore Sturgeon because somebody I should read. Somebody I read. I hear about him so much. You should always try and pick up those people. Michael Shea, I picked up because I'm a Shea, he's a Shea. I figured, hey, why not try him? I haven't tried him yet. And then I have got my Bruce Sterling, who is sort of a buddy of William Gibson. It's kind of put in there with like a lot of, I guess, the cyberpunk, and probably like a lot of that 90s cyberpunk has aged so. I think I started off with this, which was just like a bargain bin buy, which is Zeitgeist, which is one of these books I really enjoyed, just because it's a kind of a science fiction, which is a lot more about the interaction of science with society, of how it might change society, how it might alter things. Maybe just done in a bit more of a modern context and with the idea of computers. Um, Distraction is more than a futuristic political thriller. It is Sterling's persuasive vision of a social revolution that is as much biotech as philosophical in scope. He reserves a killer blow for all the most familiar things of all, the way we think, which is a very apropos quote from the Village Voice there. He did, and I've got a variety of his other ones. The Crystal Express, which I think is probably it's his collection of short stories. Global Head, which is a bit more of a just sort of him doing kind of thriller writing. He and Gibson kind of both went into thriller writing. For some reason, I found Gibson, Sterling more less thriller writer than Gibson. I find Gibson stuff seems to be more formulaic, at least on a structural point, than Bruce Sterling. Maybe that's just my glowing memories. I think I will stop there. We'll go on next to some Stephenson and Stevenson. Stephenson and Stevenson next, probably. All right. So we'll just pause. We'll stop there for the moment.